Hey, what's up, lightboltjoe here. Today we're going to discuss the 2023 Netflix original show, One Piece. So this is based on the manga, this is based on the anime. This started back in the 90s. I've never read any of the books. I've never watched any of the previous multiple cartoons that are currently actually out there on Netflix. My first viewing of this started because of Iñaki Godoy, who plays Monkey D. Luffy in this. Iñaki is an incredible actor. He was in another Netflix property called The Imperfects, where he plays this chupacabra. Awesome. He's sarcastic, he's witty, he's fun, he's very entertaining, right? He's charismatic. He's got that riz to him. Just general, just natural riz. He's wonderful. So when I first saw this trailer, I knew One Piece existed within regards to pop culture, within regards to media. It's been around since the 90s. I've just never been familiar with the story, never been familiar with the characters because I never read it and I never watched the previous cartoons. So I was going into this blind. I knew the one actor. I knew it was going to be about pirates after then watching the trailer in its entirety about the Netflix live action version. I was like, okay, cool. So we have this fantasy setting. You have there's these fish people, there's these humans with different colored hairs, there's these snails that are used for communication devices. So it's a fantasy world, but it's a seafaring pirate fantasy world. And I was like, good, we haven't had a good pirate kind of seafaring series since Pirates of the Caribbean within regards to Disney. It still kills my soul that Vampirates, the eclectic, gorgeous, wonderful book series by Justin Somper, the 6.5 book series plus the spinoff that he's starting this coming March called Pirate Academy, that is in a wonderful world-building pirate, kind of futuristic pirate, I was going to say film series, book series that deserves to be a TV series, that deserves to be a film series, deserves something. It deserves something. But I was going to let One Piece hold the place for my wanting of Vampirates to be a well-renowned and well-reviewed film TV series since 2005 when the first book first came out. So, don't know anything about One Piece. I'm going to say I don't know anything about One Piece. I don't know the story. I don't know the characters. I know nothing. The show presented to us, the 2023 Netflix show presented to us, is one of the best things I've ever seen. And I have no bias. I'm coming from no bias. I have no bias of being a fan of the series for 30 years. I have no bias of being a fan of the characters for 30 years. I have no bias towards saying this is one of the best series I've ever seen, because it's one of the best series I've ever seen. It is so quick. It's so well-rounded. It's 8 episodes long this first season. We're getting a second season, thankfully. We're going to get decades worth of this show. I'm very excited. It's a simple plot presented to us. Monkey D. Luffy is a pirate. He's going to be the king of the pirates. And he's off to get a crew together to find the One Piece, to be the pirate king. Right? What is the One Piece? Well, the One Piece is the massive, elusive pirate treasure that Gold Roger, this old pirate, hid. And then he was then executed by this Grand Admiral of the Marines. And then now all the pirates, for 20 years now, have been looking for this One Piece. Nobody could find it yet. Getting to the Grand Line within regards to this particular fantasy seafaring world. There's different seas. There's west, north, south, east, right? There's different parts of the sea, but then there's the Old Blue in the middle, and then there's the Grand Line, which is like the line of like lands and stuff. But then there's different islands everywhere. We're island hopping throughout this entire series, episode to episode. But that's the general plot, right? It's a quest, it's a seafaring, we're going to find the pirate's treasure. But what happens along the way, right? How do you get a crew together? So Luffy eventually comes around with Nami, we get Zoro, we get Usopp, we get Sanji, right? That's the main 5 that were then introduced at the end. And so it's just a matter of where do all these characters, where do they all come from? Each episode kind of is broken down as to this new character's backstory, and then why they're joining this crew, that character's backstory, why they're joining this crew, Nami being the Two-Face, but then why is she joining Arlong's crew, even though she was a part of Arlong's crew, but then why is she part of the Straw Hat crew? What is she trying to do to save Cocoa Village? All of these things, right? All of these things. We get so much appropriate backstory. We get so much appropriate flashbacks. None of this nonsense, 2 minutes in the past, 3 minutes in the present, 1 minute in the past. I've talked about how that is not how you tell a story. I've ripped to shreds films that have done that. That is not how you tell a story. And the way that they tell the backstories of these characters, of these interactions, of why their dreams are their dreams, is done so appropriately well. We're given chunks. We're given 10, 20, 30-minute chunks of backstory. None of this back and forth and back and forth. We get this backstory, and it's beautifully spliced into the mainline story. Wonderful. The conversations that these characters have, the little fisherman trick of taking the skin off the fish and putting it on the cut. Like that's a native kind of seafaring villager trick. A lot of like village. I don't know how to explain this, but I've seen documentaries where certain sea tribes do this with regards to cuts, that they use the skin from certain fish because it helps, and it like certain proteins in the fish will help heal the wound faster. It's interesting how natural medicine can work. Very interesting. So to have these little throw-in things, I thought that was really creative. To have the different conversations of what's your dream, what's your goals, what do you want to do, how do you want to be, who are you? Very interesting. And then the very, very end, I teared up. I did not expect to tear up. I laughed so much throughout this. It was absolutely hysterical. And then at the very end, I actually teared up. When they all have a boot on the barrel and they're saying their final, kick off to the next adventure kind of a thing on their ship, the Mary. All of them going around saying, I'm going to do this and I'm going to be that. But then it's the flashback of the kid version of them saying, Zoro saying, I'm going to be the best the salesman. Nami saying, I'm going to draw the map of the world. Luffy saying, I'm going to be the king of the pirates. It's just so poetic. It was poetry. It was actual poetry on the screen. And watching it but just not even from the story perspective, taking the story part away from it. It was so visually stunning. The sets, the cinematography, the costuming, the makeup, just every detail about it was so fine-tuned and crafted. It was just so beautiful, so well done. The score, the soundtrack, they having actual music in it, like actual songs, but then like that piratey kind of like seafaring feel to it of the music. It just helps carry the story. It was so wonderful, and the camera shots were very different, and I loved it. It didn't like, how do I explain this? Certain films like put a person to the side of a camera, right? So like you have the person in focus. I don't know how to do this. Me, right? Okay, me. Most of the time, how do we do this? Okay, most of the time, right? If someone's in frame, they're gonna be kind of like to the side to like give you like an artistic direction of like something else that's going on, right? No, this puts the person front and center. They are the main focal point. It was like watching a live action comic, a graphic novel, a manga. It was very interesting because it also wasn't just like standard shots. A lot of it was like down angle, or like characters are like this kind of a thing. And it was very like you're reading a manga. It was very like you're reading a graphic novel, like you're reading a comic. It was very different. It was different how it was filmed. It was different how it was presented. It was very immersive. I'm geeking out about the technical aspect of it, the story aspect of it, and the actor aspect of it. Those kids did an incredible job with all of that work. Absolute incredible job. It was believable. It was heartfelt. It was sincere. It was amazing. It was amazing. I don't know what kind of expectations I had because I had no idea what the property was about. I went in completely blind, going in completely blind to this. This is one of the best series I've ever seen. No question. Hands down, no contest, one of the best series I've ever seen. I am very impressed. I cannot wait for season 2. I cannot wait to watch this again. This might be a yearly New Year's kind of wrap-up viewing for me. I think I'm going to do it that way. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. One Piece 2023 Netflix live action show. On to the next review. Mahalo.